Hi everyone. As it's Parental Alienation Awareness Day here in the UK, I wanted to answer some of your questions, talk about the mental health issues, and talk about some of the other information of why it happens and everything else. I'm very passionate about parental alienation as it's something I've experienced myself, sadly. And also, I do work with clients every week who've been alienated from their kids, helping them with the mental health issues and the heartbreak. Sadly, here in the UK, we lose over 30 parents every month who've been alienated from the kids. We see lots of other people develop severe mental health issues, but worst of all, thousands and thousands of children each month develop mental health issues or personality disorders as a result of this horrible abuse. Okay, so on to the first question. What exactly is parental alienation? Until this happened to me, I didn't know anything about this, but it's very, very common and it's very, very textbook within certain types of people. So if we imagine two people separate and the relationship ends, what happens is one parent decides the other parent shouldn't be involved in the child's life. Now, typically when this happens, it's not that the other parent's abusive, it's just that the one parent takes a dislike to the other. And what happens is that parent then starts knocking and chipping away at the other parent by saying things like, oh, that parent's not good, that parent tells lies, etc., etc. And then they start to make up false allegations and it just gets nasty. But as a result, that child starts to get very confused, very hurt, and slowly they're brainwashed into then rejecting or not wanting to be around the other parent. And when that happens, the other parent, who's loving and caring, gets very hurt and very upset. And this can cause all sorts of issues with mental health. So the next question is, why does this happen? Why can it be that somebody who looks totally reasonable turns into an absolute monster, starts abusing the child, and creates this parental alienation? And one of the cases of this is the stress of that breakup seems to amplify either personality disorders or narcissistic disorders and causes these problems. Another reason for it is quite often it's punishment. When one parent leaves um, the other parent then gets really hurt when they've left, and they use it as a form of punishment. And another big trigger that we see all the time is when that parent who's left then starts to move on to another relationship sometime down the line, then alienation really becomes in and it really becomes triggered. So, what are the results of parental alienation? So, firstly, for the children, it's devastating. The children then develop mental health issues. They become confused. They may become anxious or depressed. They don't know what's going on. But of course, those children have loyalty to both parents. But slowly, that one parent is just chipped away and chipped away until that relationship breaks down. Sadly, long term, those children do develop issues. They struggle with relationships, personality disorders regularly come in, and very, very often mental health issues develop down the line. For the parent that's been alienated, it really is tough. You've got a child that you absolutely love. They haven't died, but you can't have a relationship with them. And it causes all sorts of anxiety, depression, stress. And ultimately, as we talked about before, over 30 parents a month take their own lives. So, a big question we get at this point is, why doesn't the law step in and help out with this when all these children are being abused? So, repeatedly from solicitors and caseworkers, I've been told the system is not fit for purpose, it's antiquated, and it totally needs overhauling. So, typically, what happens is when a parent is denied access to their kids by the alienator, they go off to the family court. They will spend money on mediators, then they'll spend even more money going to the court, and a hearing will be put up. And a CAFCAS worker will then go on and do a full investigation. It'll go back to the court. And typically at this point, some false accusations are made by the alienator. That is very, very common. They'll investigate those. And in most cases, those are totally thrown out as false allegations. The process then moves on that a court order is made of how much time this child should spend with this parent and this parent. And the healthy ideal for this is 50-50. But what happens is the alienator quite often somewhere down the line then starts to break the court order. So there's a court order in place, and if it's been broken, if they refuse access, they make all these silly excuses, then it's more money back to the court. They go through the same process, and this repeats again and again. Now, sadly, here in the UK, if the alienator breaks that court order, it's meant to be that they punish them, they fine them, but they never do. They never enforce the court orders. But the whole problem with this is the children get really screwed up going through this process. They then got strangers and mediators coming in, asking them all sorts of questions, and it really doesn't do their mental health any good. So, where can we go for help if we've been alienated from our children? Now, there's lots of organizations and solicitors out there that may help. However, they are very, very expensive. And we constantly hear stories of people paying thousands to tens of thousands of pounds to still not get their genuine access to children because of the alienator causing all these problems. If I was to recommend one group, there's an amazing bunch of people called PAPA, People Against Parental Alienation, and they've got lots of free guides and articles about where you stand legally and what to do in a step-by-step form. They also have a very low-cost paid-for service, and I've got to say Simon Cobb, who runs that organization, is absolutely amazing, and he puts all of his spare time and all of his spare cash into helping children and helping adults who've been alienated. If you're struggling with mental health issues, please get in touch with us. I'm quite happy to give you some time on the phone. We'd hate to see anybody else commit suicide. Thankfully, things are changing. Some MPs are getting involved, some committees, and I'm hoping in the near future they'll start enforcing these court orders and giving punishment to people who alienate their kids from the other parent. Thank you so much for watching, and please check in on your friends if they've been alienated, because they do have a hard time. Thank you.